try this again. One thing, when Bernie lost, or when he suspended his campaign for election, one thing that concerned me was maybe people weren't interested in liberation. Maybe people weren't interested in what that meant and what it would call for. And as Sam Cedar put it, that maybe we can't count on the working class. Maybe we have to count on, the people out here who are suburban, college educated people. And then George Floyd hit. And then he was murdered. And we've watched an outpouring we watched a real outpouring of support out here. And we've also watched, law enforcement just get real pissy and mad and blue flu and I'm mad. I can't shoot a man in the back twice, 3 times, man. And I'm at the point now to where if I have to explain to you why shooting a man in the back in the butt is wrong, you shouldn't be. You should be explaining to me why that's not lawful. You should be like, when we talk, you should be explaining to me like, no, we can't shoot him in the back because you know what I mean. I'm gonna tell you, we have watched white people really go out here for us, take a knee for us, and take them licks for us. I work for a living. Things have been tight for me, and I'm just now, last week and this week, well, the last couple of weeks have been starting to get back on track. A full 40-hour work week, and I could have worked more. Miss Pat had something for me Saturday going to Asheville, and I was like, I was not going to be unloading no truck. $25 an hour, I'm not doing that shit. When you do stuff like that, you start wearing down. It catches up to you when you start working 6 days a week. So, and I think a lot of us are like that. We're not able to do that, to go out and get arrested and get beaten. I just throw us off. Honestly, reading Cedar Post, that's the one thing that I think scares cops more than anything, is white people getting involved. I think that terrifies them. I think that just freaks them the fuck out that white people are willing to go out here and step into the jaws of Cerebus, march right into the jaws of Cerebus and take that ass whooping. That's, I remember reading that on Cedar Post like a year ago and not understanding what the big deal was. You know why that is? See, they can call us thugs and niggas and all that because black people don't have no power in this country. We never did. We don't run nothing. I spoke on other videos. Yeah, you got Byron Allen and you got the dude that Bob Johnson. And you got your various black entertainers, athletes, and musicians. But in large part, black people don't run nothing in this country, and they know it. NAACP, what you've gotten from white people getting involved is a broader base, because as long as blacks are getting their butts kicked, white people can be like, oh, well, maybe they deserve. When you start shooting at press and beating press, you are you're making a crucial error, because see, this is what Bull Connor and them knew back in the day. They were beating up on blacks and painting them as the criminals, as being black was criminal, as being black, you're coming into our lily white air, we don't want you here. You are evil, you are the vagabond, you bring disease and danger and destruction. When you start beating up white people in mass and shooting at press in mass, you're really justifying the argument I have and many others have that law enforcement cannot be reformed. It can't. I mean, we watched the Louisville police shoot at press, and the press were like, "We're press." The cops said, "We don't care." And I watched that policeman level pep ball from point blank range and shoot at the camera. When you do stuff like that, you're alienating a lot of white people. I said this before, who vote, who serve on the juries, who pay their taxes. They want to pay taxes. They want to vote. They want us. Look, they go to the city council meetings. They know how the city works. So when cops do that bullshit, well, I told you to move, and the white people are like, well, the law says this. That's not going to work, officer. Like, that's going to come back and bite you. That's not anti-cop. That's you learning a lesson that you can't abuse people's rights just because you feel like it. I remember back with the, there was a shooting in California where this boy had ran from the police to his grandma's house. They shot him running into the yard, gunned him down. And the brother came to the city council meeting, police were roughing him up and stuff, and he's getting loud and stuff. He had these white people and Asian people, and he kept having them get in front of him so the police could. I love to see that. And that's what this is. It's acknowledging that law enforcement likes to abuse black people. Law enforcement doesn't value black lives. And so we know this. We want you to jump on others because that's going to hurt you. I wasn't sure I agree with that tactic because I didn't agree with him getting up on the camera. I didn't agree with him doing what he was doing, but overall, the tactic makes sense. You're dealing with people who really value us as less than human. If you want to be honest, less than human. Basically, that's how I took it. Now, corporations. I'm not a fascist, not a corporatist. I don't think they should have that kind of power. But as a socialist, member of working class, I acknowledge that you've got to use certain tactics, certain organizations to get what you want done. First of all, before I go any further, it amazes me that cops don't understand how these protests made them look really bad. That it wasn't about terrorists and thugs and we hate the cops. You proved our point. When we there's a guy that had the NYPD, the union guy talking, he's like, stop treating us like animals. And he was just showing them act like animals. All the clips. I'm like, wow, I love it. You did that. You cops did that. We didn't do that. You made yourself like animals. Shooting people in the face and point blank, arresting press. But you want to say this is a free country. And it gets you the cops are just like they didn't want to do it. It's like, don't you understand that this makes you look bad? Arresting press, credentialed people, beating. I watched them beat a cameraman in front of the White House. You guys don't understand how that makes you look bad? That proves my point? And you don't think there was going to be some consequences out of that combined police abuse of press? Or do you they went into church and shot Tig ass and then arrested the ministers? You don't think that stuff is any consequence? See, that's white people. There's never a consequence to them. That's white supremacy. In a way, that's their biggest thing is that they've had so much power for so long that the idea of there being any consequences to them is an anathema. It's an aberration. It's like, wait a minute, there's consequences? Wait a minute, if I park my car here, it may get towed? Wait a minute, if I walk out in the rain, I may get wet? Let's go back to it. Corporations. I acknowledge some of them are not black friendly, but one thing about, I'm going to say the same thing with the press. One thing about public attention, one thing about the media, use as an example here, they're magnifiers. So if CBS News, ABC, Fox, seeing if they all talk about something, more people will hear it. And it's more likely people who aren't even political will learn about a certain topic. Same thing with corporations. I was reading PEG. I think they clean like the detergent store, I guess. They were talking about it on their website about books talking about white supremacy. I was like, wow. I was shocked. I mean, it doesn't cost me anything to do that, but I was like, wow. See, one thing about me is I look at corporations, how they spend their money, what they do. I look at the military. Because we live in a fascist country, and that's really all that matters now is the military and corporations. That's it. You know, I don't look at Trump talking about climate change. I look at the military studying climate change. Republicans putting a bunch of money together to them because they want them to study how the military base can be upgraded to prepare for climate change. Telling you they know it exists. They just want to look at it as a way so they can set themselves up for military superiority going into the next 100 years. That's what this is about. I knew that. That's an example there. Seeing these corporations take our side in the struggle for liberation, for one thing, first of all, it shows you Trump has lost. Because all Trump cares about is corporations. That's all he gives a fuck about. That's all he cares about. Everybody knows it. We know this. So, if the corporations are taking our side and they're acknowledging, okay, there is racism, there is bad things being done to black people, that hurts him. You may acknowledge it, that hurts him. Well, yeah, it does. In more ways than one. Basically, the country has taken a side. They have. You know, when Trump did that thing with the taking away the rule on discrimination, you can't discriminate against trans people, took that away, and the same week, Supreme Court ruled you couldn't be fired for being gay or trans. So like, Trump is on the wrong side of history. Even if he gets real, see that was my hope. I don't want people to get into this narrative of we're gonna beat Trump. We may. Biden may win, you know, that's fine, that's cute, that's sweet. I don't really look at the poll. I haven't looked at the polls on Trump in a while. Because we're seeing so much change now. And I've learned to look at change in the corporations, look at change in the businesses. Because even if you have an Obama presidency, but nobody wants to follow. See, Obama was really ahead of his time in some ways. He was. But in the same thing, I feel like you needed a Trump. I feel like the fact that we don't have proper federal leadership, people are stepping forward themselves. Like it's like Trump was a test. Trump was the test, and he was a test, and the system is working as it should. I mean, the generals stood up, spoke out, especially retired ones. That's who really is important. Because if I work for somebody, I can only say so much. I want to keep my job. I can only say so much. You know, that's common sense. Generals are stepping up. They're speaking out. I've seen soldiers out there speaking out against stuff. I mean, that really touched me to realize that, whoa, you know, take a breath. We're all right. A lot of us feared the whole idea of the general's cabinet. But now the generals are the only ones displaying any type of moral superiority, moral basis, if you will. And I'm humbled by that. It shouldn't be this way. But I'm humbled by that. Look, the corporations are important because we don't have any money. We don't have any power as black people. We don't have any real voice as black people other than violence. And the fact that corporations, even though they're doing it out of, you know, money and stuff like that. Like my friend Denzel was saying, it's about money. I understand that, but still, they didn't have to take our side. They didn't. And I'm gonna tell you something. Me and Denzel always talking about how when white folks do racist shit, these Klansmen go and give a bunch of money, or these Klansmen, they go fund me and stuff. And he's right. That dude Milo, Milo got in a bunch of trouble. Remember, he wrote that. He came out and made a comment about he was molested as a child, and he liked it. He's a homosexual, He got a lot of hot. He lost a magazine for that. He got a lot of hot water for that. And then he wrote that book, saying all that racist shit. Like the editors released it. No, every page was like, "Why are you being so racist? Why are you making?" So he lost his book. He had to turn all his money back in. The advance he got. Any of us would have went bankrupt, and it was a millionaire gave him a bunch of money to keep him going. Somebody funded him. That's white privilege. Even when you do racist. And see, it's crazy because for black people, we learn from a young age, like, nobody's got us. Nobody's got black people. Historically. Not historically. Nobody's got you as a black man. You're on your own. Even if you're on your own. You learn that. And for white people, we see, like, anytime they get in trouble and do racist, dumb shit, they don't really feel it. That's what Denzel was saying. And it's true. He's right. But what we're seeing now, these corporations, with these people coming out of nowhere and being willing to fire these videos of racist Karens and racist Chads confronting black people, the fact that they're doing that, it humbles me. All of them. It also shows you we're in a different time now. That Trump, that era doesn't exist anymore. Like really, Trump was, we say when I was in church, separating the wheat from the chaff. That's what Trump really was. That's really what he was. The Klansmen coming out that closet and realizing the world doesn't accept you. The world doesn't accept you, and the world doesn't appreciate what you're doing. And that if you're gonna do this kind of stuff, you're gonna pay the cost. You're gonna lose certain things. By you doing this stuff, because we don't support that ideology anymore of racism, of disrespect for people of different skin colors than your own. So, anyway, I just want to leave it at that. That for me, I'm really hopeful. I'm really happy to see so many people have stood up for us, spoke out for us, and that the country's moving in the right direction. The country not lost their mind. The country has simply woke up. Isn't that crazy? Like for Cedar Post, like all the race shit they said, it's all false. Nobody wants to talk. Cedar Post, it's a racist white police blog. It's all white people living 100 years. It's all a bunch of dinosaurs. They're like, Obama's going to prison. Hillary's going to prison. And one of them was like, I look forward to the 82nd Airborne marching in Washington. None of that happened. None of that happened. Like everything they said, it's like Denzel put it, it's all white pride stories that we're going to get these niggers. And no, that's not happening. That has not happened. That won't happen. You are wrong. We're not lost our mind. We woke up and realized you never had one. You and your kind never had a mind. You're just cruel, brutal people. That's what Trumpism is. We're just cruel, callous people who hate the idea of democracy, who just operate through rage. Peace.